Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. I'm going to go over some stuff with you today. We've got the weekend recap for week 14. We're going to go over my Best Buys article. We're going to go over my cash game lineup on DraftKings and see how we did, look at my results. I'm going to go over some tournament things. We talked about some stuff on the Anti-Tinkercast on Twitch that I want to go over in terms of my process in lineup building, because there was a lot of interesting things that happened yesterday from a lineup building perspective because we had so many different choices that we were able to make. So I want to go over all of it with you here. Every Monday we do this video. I go over my mistakes from the week before, where I could have been better, where I got lucky, where I got unlucky. That's kind of what we're going to do today. I'd love to meet you all over on Twitch. If you haven't been over there, the link for all of my socials is down below, including the Twitch channel, where we go over these and record all of these videos for YouTube absolutely live every week on Twitch, especially and as well as the Anti-Tinkercast every Sunday morning, the last 45 minutes before kickoff. That's a Twitch-only video. No sense in me uploading it here. So if you like the first look, if you like the recap, if you watch the Friday Q&A, the Anti-Tinkercast is somewhat essential. So try and make your way over there. Drop me a follow over there as well. Like this video, subscribe to this video, click all the darn things. Click something. Leave me a comment down below as well. Do all the things. Let's get to the video. So we're going to start with my Best Buys. ESPN Plus article comes out every single Thursday. Just Google Best Buys week, whatever week it is in NFL, and you'll find it. There's Mike Clay and Yoda sitting on top of it. Starting with the quarterbacks, Pat Mahomes did Pat Mahomes things, including he added a new wrinkle. He's throwing no-look passes now because he thinks he's Magic Johnson or Ronaldinho. He's Mahomesinho of the NFL. 35 of 53, 377 and 2 touchdowns against the Baltimore Ravens defense, who did a fantastic job of pressuring Mahomes and forcing him into mistakes. And this Chief offense looked more labored than I've seen them look against most other defenses in the league. And he still ended the day with 24.8 DraftKings points. Did just fine. Jameis Winston started off the game really well. Ended the game 18 of 38 for 213 and 2 touchdowns. Had 20.2 DraftKings points. It's fine. It's nice. It's not the 23 or 25 that we wanted or expected out of Winston this week against New Orleans. But New Orleans did a fantastic job of adjusting to what the Bucs were doing on offense and really flustered him. He only ended the day with 213. So a bit disappointing there. Ben Roethlisberger. 19.3 points, slightly disappointing. 25 of 29 on the day, 282 and 2 touchdowns. So he didn't kill you if you played him. 19.3 fantasy points. Lamar Jackson had one of his better days as well. 20 fantasy points. Once again, 147 yards passing with 2 touchdowns, 71 yards rushing to give him that floor that we talk about every single week. So another day with 70 plus yards rushing for him. Running backs, this is where things were going to separate. We talked about this on the Anti-Tinkercast, and I'll talk about it with you once we get to the lineup breakdown portion of the show. Christian McCaffrey, 16 carries, 63 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 6 catches, 7 targets, 38 yards, 28.1 DraftKings points. Ezekiel Elliott leading the league in volume. We knew that coming in. He touched the ball 40 more times yesterday. 28 carries for 113 and the bonus on DraftKings. 12 catches, 13 targets, 79 yards receiving, 34.2 points, and did not find his way into the end zone not one time. Aaron Jones did not start the game, did not even play the second series, did get to 20 touches on the day. I wish they would just give this kid the full run and let him go, but Philbin could not handle being the head coach early in this game. He lost both of his challenges 5 minutes into the game. I'm not even getting into why are you burning challenges or anything that early. Nothing is that meaningful on the first or second drive of the game that you need to burn 1 or 2 red flags and be wrong about them. But that's just a whole other thing. And you start Jamal Williams over Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones against the Falcons figured it out late. 17 rushes for 78 yards and a touchdown. 3 catches on 3 targets for 28 yards. No touchdowns, 19.6 DraftKings points. Can only imagine what would have happened if he just got, the majority, the bulk, all of the work, instead of like peppering him in here and there. Jeff Wilson Jr. got plenty of volume, 23 carries for 90 yards, no touchdowns, 1 catch on 2 targets. That's a little disappointing. 6 yards. He ends the day with 10.6 DraftKings points. Jalen Samuels, the other high-owned value play, 11 carries for 28 yards, 7 catches on 7 targets for 64 yards. I preferred Jeff Wilson going into this slate. Yes, Jalen Samuels ended with about 5.5 more DraftKings points on the day because of his inclusion in the pass game. I felt that Wilson Jr. would get way more touches and be roughly as involved in the passing game as Samuels. It did not work out that way, but if you're telling me that I'll take the guy that gets 24 touches over the guy that gets 18 touches, I feel like the process was right there picking Wilson over Samuels. There were plenty of lineups where I played the two of them. I prioritized Wilson Jr. over Samuels in cash because of volume. We were right about the volume. We weren't as right about the efficiency. But again, he didn't kill you as long as you played the two running backs with him. Antonio Brown, this was a miss. 5 catches on 7 targets, 35 yards for 8.5 DraftKings points. He was a GPP play for me to pay up to be contrarian. I said as much in the article. It just didn't work out. Juju Smith-Schuster, who I also mentioned in this, sprinkling in some Juju Smith-Schuster in tournaments as well. These are just plays on the Raiders defense that were going to be lower owned because of the standard roster construction that was going to be in play last week. Keenan Allen was the one I wanted to have the most of all the wide receivers. 18.8 DraftKings points. Didn't do as well as somebody like Julio. Did better than some other ones as well. 5 catches on 9 targets, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Courtland Sutton was a massive bust, and I got into my trepidation. We talked about it on stream before we started recording this video. I talked about it on the Anti-Tinkercast before lock yesterday. Courtland Sutton here, he's disappointed us a lot this year, but I'm not basing this on that. He was 4,500. We knew that he should get run. Yes, he got injured in the middle of this game, so you got unlucky there. 2 catches on 6 yards. He's a high ADOT player, so there's always going to be risk, but it's a boom and bust, right? Low floor, high upside. I figured based on the amount of snaps that he was going to play, the amount of routes that he should theoretically run, with Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders gone, that it should buoy his floor. Later in the week, the more I dug into Deshaun Hamilton for 1,500 less than Sutton, I felt that he was the better play and I should own him more. But falling into a little bit of groupthink personally, knowing that Sutton was going to be highly owned and I could just use him to block in cash games, right? Because I could get to the players that I wanted in cash games with Sutton. I theoretically could have done better by coming down to Deshaun Hamilton, but going to Hamilton there puts you on a massive island in cash. So overweighting the field in tournaments with Deshaun Hamilton 100% was the right move. In cash games, I think it would have been a ballsy play based on the fact that most people were going to have Courtland Sutton. If Sutton bombs in cash, it's not costing you anything. If Sutton goes off in cash, it's not helping you or helping them. It's helping you against people that faded him. So theoretically speaking, going with Deshaun and being on Deshaun Island in cash is an interesting argument of whether or not you're willing to do that and what it could have opened up for you in your lineup. So a discussion for another day. Curtis Samuel, 12 points, 4 catches on 8 targets, 80 yards, did fine, paid off his salary. Zay Jones missed, but I think that this is one where we got unlucky as opposed to Courtland Sutton. 9 targets, 3 catches, 2 of them were end zone targets, 22 yards, 5.2 DraftKings points for 4.2K. I think this is, I'm fine with the process here, I guess is what I'm saying. If I'm telling you that I'm going to get 2 end zone targets for Zay Jones in a game where the Bills score over 20 points, and he's going to get 9 targets, I'm probably going to play Zay Jones with that information. So in my opinion, I think we got unlucky here. Travis Kelce did Travis Kelce things, 7 catches, 9 targets, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Another catch was negated that would have put him close to a 100-yard bonus, because there was a defensive holding and he fell short of a first down, so they took the penalty. So that would have put him about 95 yards on 8 catches, still in the day, with 20.7 DraftKings points. A lot of tight ends ended up going off, especially the high dollar ones. Kittle, Ebron did well. Gronk had a big day for the first time in a while, so paying up for tight end was the way to go. Chris Herndon had a bust day, 2.4 points, and Vance McDonald, 7.7 points, 4 catches, 4 targets, 37 yards, no touchdown. Defenses, we did pretty good this week. The Lions D had 18 points. The Patriots D had 6 points. The Giants D had 18 points, all for under 3K. So let's kind of look at my lineups, and I can't get to my lineups page on DraftKings to work this morning. So I can't open up the 4-man, but you can see the lineups that I had here. So this was my cash game lineup here on the left. You see the amount of entries. These are all head-to-head games, and then some tournaments mixed in on top of that. So Aaron Rodgers, who was not on the list, but was not written up in Best Buys, but we've talked about him all week. He was just too cheap. And once they fired McCarthy, I was like, you know what? This is a situation where he's too cheap and allows me to get everybody else. Saquon Barkley was a pivot down from CMC. Something that we talked about on the Anti-Tinkercast as well. When things changed on Saturday with OBJ being out, that completely changed my outlook on the Giants. So Saquon Barkley was going to be relied on way more heavily in that game. Can I get a card to open up? See, like the lineups page is being so slow today. So 14 carries, 4 receptions on 5 targets, and he busted another long run for a touchdown, and then had another 50-yard run where he got tackled inside the 5 and didn't end up getting that touchdown. Pairing him with the Giants defense is what I did a lot in tournaments. I did not do it in cash because I couldn't quite get there with the build that I had. I could have if I had changed things up. We'll talk about that in a second. So he was my pivot down off of McCaffrey to get me a little bit of extra cash because I needed the 400 to build the rest of the lineup the way I wanted. Chris Godwin, this was a miss, but again, 10 targets. So I think we got unlucky here. He was guarded most by Eli Apple, who he did not catch one pass on the 7 targets in which he was guarded by Eli Apple. Strange there. Eli Apple was somebody we picked on a ton when he was in the Giants system. Now that he's in New Orleans, he fits that scheme better, obviously, as he's been great in terms of PFF grades since going to New Orleans. Zay Jones, Cortland Sutton, so all my wide receivers bombed. Travis Kelce was great. Jeff Wilson was fine. Went with the Cardinals defense to fit them all in. But these studs were the key to the lineups. And here's my other 2. You guys know I build 3 lineups a week. I put them in the 3 max tournaments and the high dollar qualifiers, and I enter 3 lineups in the Wildcat. These 2 cashed, did exceptionally well. Both of them had Deshaun Hamilton in them because I felt I didn't have enough. I had 20% Deshaun Hamilton over my entire 150 lineups, and I felt I needed a little bit more, between 30 and 40%, but I did not change to that. I could not get myself or talk myself out of Cortland Sutton to be on Deshaun Island all by myself. This game was Rodgers to Devontae Adams and bring it back with Julio Jones. Went with Ebron in both of these to free up salary. And this one I went with the 2 cheap running backs. This one I still paid up for 2 expensive running backs. Volume over everything, guys. And at this point in the season, everybody's hurt. There's always going to be value across the board every single week on DraftKings because of players getting hurt. Everybody's injured at this point. Everybody's hurt at this point in the year. A lot of players get injured, opening up value spots every week at running back, wide receiver, tight end to allow us to fit the studs. So be sure that you're focusing on stuffing in the value in your lineups. How did you guys do in your head-to-heads this week? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know how you did in tournaments this week. What plays were your best? What combos were your best? And which ones killed you? Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Please drop a like on this video if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch up to you later. Bye.